Welcome to Million Dollar Dentistry with your host, Gary Cady, brought to you by Next Level Practice. Next Level Practice is the leader in dental practice management. In fact, they are the best in the world at creating happy teams that implement sustainable results. Your host, Gary Cady, welcomes you to this podcast as he discusses the common concerns, challenges, and shares his decades of experience in empowering dentists and dental teams to go from good to world class. Gary Cady is the visionary voice of Next Level Practice and has for the past 20 years interrupted the status quo of the dental world. He continues to bring national attention to the oral systemic connection and believes in the complete health dentistry model. He is a powerful educator and advocate for dentistry, dentist, and dental teams. He is inspired every day by the courage and personal successes of the doctors and team members he has the privilege of working with. Welcome, Gary.
Hello, Amber. Nice to be back here.
Definitely. Well, we talked about last time, and the last one, we talked about a bleak picture, but it was kind of accurate of what many dentists' lives resemble, that outward presentation of success, but they're masking painful sense of desperation. And today, this episode is about hope, that we don't have to live that way, that it doesn't need to be that way. So what do you have to say about this in the life you're entitled to lead?
It is all good in the gated hood is what I have to say about that. It's all good in the gated hood. But it's all good in the gated hood and living in the lifestyle that whatever that might be, that's I'm playing with you. But, it's like really, really having a picture of a practice that, when you first, I love baseball. So it's, like spring training. It's like everybody thinks that, it's going to be the best year ever. And I always think about dentists, like the day they graduate and they work their tails off in dental school. And then they're sitting there at this, like this big world ahead of them and this picture of the ideal. And then it's like, here's your key, here's the keys to your practice. And then it's like, I think of needle on the record, like, and it's like, okay, then you're faced with reality. And then, we go into the spiral that Dr. Laser Guy did in chapter 1. And this is really about, really, painting the picture of expectations if some doctors didn't have. And really, we're going to, talk about the 17 points of an ideal practice, and then really like what it looks like. Because if you don't know what it looks like, you can't get there. And if you don't know that that's a reasonable established thing, because as we spoke about in the last episode, people have just become resigned that this is just the way it is for them. And what we're saying is, let's talk about, a picture of really what a healthy, well-balanced, standard general practice should look like. And, that's what we're going to outline in today's episode.
Wonderful. So let's just jump right in. So have all the income you desire. What exactly, is that even possible, really?
Yeah. Most dentists are living in a defaulted world, meaning they just kind of get on the court of play and work hard, throw hours at it, throw their best ideas at it, throw new patients at it. And then however, it kind of falls out is like how they've done income. And we're saying, no, this is a designed career. You're an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur means that you have the total freedom to create. Even if you're starting out and you're sitting as a dentist, getting your speed up in a corporate practice, and that's completely fine. You can sit there and do that, and that's all good. But what we're saying is that you can absolutely design a lifestyle. And what we do is we reverse engineer. You say, I want to make this amount of money. Money is a relative thing. And I know this might be hard for some people because it's like its concept is considered scarce. It's actually abundant. And how you get it is by creating value. And then how you get it in dentistry is creating value and have a business that is profitable. There's 3 ways to make money in dentistry. SPF, I call it, to remember it easily. S stands for salary, P stands for profit, and F stands for freaking equity. And so
okay. I like the F one. That was good.
Yeah, well, I'm politically correct, and I don't swear, so But doctors don't think of making money that way. They think like, okay, they have a job in their own business, and it's an expensive job, and I want them to move from a dentist with a job to becoming an entrepreneur, leveraging their assets, and then taking them out to being a CEO if they choose to step aside. They don't even have to be in their practice, and they can still have money being made. And dentists don't know what they don't know. They're just doing what the masses is. They're staying with the herd, and they don't have to do that here. They can actually step into and design a lifestyle of income. And here's the other key piece, and we're going to get into it. One of the numbers, like in the amount of time that they want to spend. See, uncollapsing time and money is really important. They're mutually exclusive. Like one doesn't have to affect the other, because I have a lot of dentists that don't sit chair side, and their other practices are like ATMs for them. They just crank out profit, and they're entrepreneurs, and they love that.
So this is where you really start with and helping them create dreams, or even dream big, because they went to school to be dentists. So they're dentists.
Yep.
They didn't go to school to be business owners. And that's kind of one of those things. They get out and you think, oh my goodness, I have to own my own practice. And they jump out into the world. And then it's like, oh my goodness, I own my own practice and I'm a dentist. And how do I do this?
Exactly. And then, you get on the drill, fill, and PPO treadmill, and you run hard, you run fast, and you try to outrun your expenses, and you try to outrun the lesser, reimbursements from insurance companies. And that becomes your life. And I'm saying, no mas, please, no mas. That's my Spanish for the day.
There we go. I love it. I love it.
Honoring my Latino dentist and dental teams out there. We have all of our work translated in Spanish. We have a practice in Puerto Rico, and they go, Gary, can we translate everything? I had a gentleman who's just a magic man. He's just crazy. He translated $1 Million Dentistry into Spanish, and all of our work into Spanish. It's Oto la Regalia. I can't even say the darn word, but Jace, I didn't know I was going down this road. I like tangents because we got to make this fun,
Oh yeah, I can follow right along with tangents. That's my squirrel mind is like, woo, there we go. Okay, but I can come back to the nut. I always say my squirrel mind may go off, but it'll come back to the nut. So.
Amber, can I just give you a hug this morning? You're the cutest ever. I love your sweet Southern accent, and then your metaphors. I have this picture of a squirrel running around crazy with their tail flapping around, and then you just come back to the nut. So we're back to the nut. Okay,
we're back to the nut. Okay. Oh. All right. So, we're talking, that's what I always think about with the teaching them to dream big. So that is a wonderful.
Well, here's the problem with number one. They don't even know that they can go from a defaulted life to a designed life. That isn't even on somebody's radar to even dream about that. That's the problem. So we're just fixing that problem right here, going, just choose what you want, and then now let's go build it. Most people are trying to back in, and they never get there. That's why only 4% of dentists retire financially free. That's why most dentists went from 62 on the average just 10 years ago. Now they're at 69 10 years later, and they can't retire. It's not okay.
No,
cut it out. Not. Cut it out.
All right. So, and that's the beauty of this, is that they're going to learn something different, that there is a different way, and they can have it, and that they deserve it.
Yes.
All right. So work as many or as few hours as you would like. Really? And still make money?
Yeah. Some people, doctors, when they first meet me, they go like, are you smoking the good stuff? Like and I always say, yes, it's medical marijuana. No, I don't smoke marijuana. But, it's like, here we are. When I first wrote the book, we did not have legalized marijuana. So I couldn't even use that joke, Amber.
I know.
No, I'm not smoking the good stuff here, friends. Like I said earlier, cut out the idea, take away the myth, eliminate that, to make more income, you have to work more hours. This usually, and this is a generation gap for boomers. They were told by Depression era people who influenced them, if you want to work, if you want to be successful, you have to what? Finish the sentence. You have to what, Amber?
Work harder and longer.
Exactly. And I teach my baby boomer doctors, hashtag duh. No wonder why you're French fried. No wonder why you can't sustain this. Uncollapse your time, uncollapse your money, and let's take you into the world. And this is not like airy fairy. This is like real deal Holyfield is what we're talking about here. So what we do is we take how much money you want to make and how much time you want to work, and we reverse engineer how much you need to do each day. And we're going to get into that in detail later, but when you reverse engineer your time and money, now you're at cause in the matter of a number that's going to land you in the trajectory that you need to be when you're ready to hang your loops up. So that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about the opportunity to really dig in and really go for the time and money you deserve, so you can look, why are we working? You need to have time to enjoy it. And that's the key to what we're creating here.
Yeah, you said in that section that there are 3 basic ways, and the one that you didn't recommend was the adding more hours. And then you're talking about increasing production per hour. And then the third way was to increase production by hiring an associate.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways in dentistry that we can take you, and it's aligned with your values, the way you want to work. Some dentists don't want to put an associate in. Some people want to be just more productive, more efficient, and they're happy doing what they want to do. Or some people want to put on more hygiene, and they can't fill the one they have, but they have tons of patients. And the gap is they don't know how to create value. They don't know how to create systems. They don't know how to create a hygiene department that just spins off. We have hygienists doing more than associates now. I mean, we've had hygienists up to 2,500 a day, because they're complete health hygienists. They've shifted how they do hygiene and what hygiene stands for.
Amazing. Okay. So have your patients show up and have them show up on time. Now, I'd like to see that one.
Yeah. Well, here's what I learned here. Doctors that are grappling with not having their patients pay them, or not having patients show up on time, it's because my definition of leadership, and I learned this the hard way, is that you go first. You go first. And so how to you're not going to have everybody show up on time, Amber. Let's be honest. But what happens is, what we do is we allow the morals and values that we live by to be in the universe that happens around us. So if you want your team to show up on time, you need to show up on time. If you want patients to pay the bill for you, you have to pay your bills. That is the most fundamental, and that's usually an eye opener for doctors. They don't operate by agreement. They don't, and you're going to learn more concepts about this. Operating by agreement. Who's going to do it? What are you going to do? And by when you get it done? See, this is the trust issue. When you're breaking agreements or missing agreements, this is where the root of all upset and inefficiency shows up. And so if you want your patients to be on time, start with you. Then that's going to trickle down to your team, and that's going to be the standard for them. And they're going to be able to, communicate that standard to the patients. And so, look, here's the deal. There was a time I used to be 3 hours late to family functions and wondered why people were pissed when I showed up, because I had no relationship to this. Zero. And what happened was I learned from a great coach. His name is Roger. He charged me $100 per minute that I was late.
Oh my.
And yeah. And he goes, Gary, you're doing great. You're like really, your business is really flourishing, and I really helped you grow. And, but the last thing you need to get is you're not a man of your word. And what do you mean by that? He goes, when you say something, people can't always count on that. And the most tangible thing is you with your time, because you're late at every meeting we have. And I said, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, $100 for every minute you're late. And he goes, after that month, he goes, Gary, we need to reconcile. You were 36 minutes late. You owe me $3,600.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, Roger, I'm not paying you, you know. And then I eventually paid him, and he said that's the best $3,600 that you ever invested, because you're gonna now see the value of being a man of your word. When you say something, you do it, and if you don't do it, you acknowledge that you're late. And when you operate this way and create a culture like this inside your practice, if you want people to show up on time, if you want people to pay on time, um, you start the cascade of that, and then your team does it, and then your patients do it. It is magical. You know, I don't have people on my team, as like, we run on time, and
Definitely.
when we say there's a meeting, I mean, if you're a minute late, you acknowledge that you're a minute late. So it really honors the other person. And once people know how your standard of integrity around time integrity and money integrity, it really reduces stress dramatically.
That's amazing and I do recognize that in my own life when I make that agreement with another person that we'll both be on time, that I feel better about it. I don't have that resentment that pops up if they're not on time. And now I feel like when I go to a doctor's office or a dentist office and they're running an hour late, I'm like, you're not in integrity with your time here.
Well, and it also perpetuates problems, because when you teach them that you run late, it becomes an epidemic inside the practice. They go, well, he's not going to be on time, so I can just show up late. And then everybody's just showing up late, and now you have a cascade effect happening.
Exactly. All right. So number 4 is to be free to present comprehensive treatment without any fear of rejection or negative reaction from the patient. Ooh, that's a big one.
You think? I mean, this is the source of a lot of problems here, because I really interviewed doctors, and they like, well, some of them assimilate that the patient's problem is their problem, and they were the ones who created. That's that shame and guilt in effect, where like you feel like the bad person delivering negative news. And we'll get into the personas as we get in there. And if 75% of dentists are humanist methodicals. And so that means that when they come chairside to the patient, two things happen. They avoid and acquiesce. So they don't want to be the bearer of bad news, and they avoid like the confrontation of having to tell somebody that there's something wrong with them. And so, being able to overcome those things, as we're going to talk about in future episodes, and like really engaging the team to highlight the problem. Like we highlighted the problem in a dental office with Dr. Larry Laserguy, and we did it in a way that told a story. And there's a way to do that with a patient chairside. But this is what we're talking about right here, Amber, is an inside job. Most doctors aren't sitting there going, oh, I'm a methodical humanist that acquiesces and avoids. And, you might know that about yourself, and you don't like confrontation. And you also don't like being a bearer of bad news. All those elements are collapsed. And then when it comes time to diagnose and treat, it's like, then you diagnose to their wallet, like, oh, this person doesn't have a lot of money, so I'm just gonna, I'm gonna do a 10 surface filling on that tooth, instead of really doing a crown. You didn't laugh at that, Amber?
No,
I thought that was funny.
I'm just thinking about sitting in the chair for a 10 surface filling. I got stuck in the chair there for a minute.
Oh my gosh. I need you to laugh on cue here.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was in the dental chair in pain. Thank you very much.
Good. So look, like really identifying that this is a problem, like doctors are like, oh man, I'm having a really rough time in my practice. And well, you have more dentistry than you can ever do in a lifetime sitting in your chairs. But the source point of the problem are all these things that we just distinguished. And imagine if you don't make their problem your problem, you actually make it your purpose to provide a solution. That's why they come to you. But we have all these personal limiting beliefs, barriers, shame, guilt, and all that collapsed. And once we uncollapse that, we've done the work on the inner job, and then doctors just take the lid off and become free in this key point of growing a practice.
Yes. Okay. So having patients accept at least 67% of the treatment presented and pay for it in full and in advance, is that going to make this your humanist doctor that we're talking about, who is there to heal and to help, a salesperson? I mean, you're just gonna take some sales technique, is it not? Or is it
Heck
different?
no,
Okay, good.
no.
Tell me how to do this without sales.
Well, we're not going to do it here. We're just setting the hope that this is all possible. The goods are going to come in the episodes to follow, the deep goods. But I want to really begin to distinguish this. Is that the thing about this is that you know people that can't accept an acknowledgement, Amber, um, can't receive money. So like this morning, I said, Amber, I said, I really like doing this podcast with you. You're really a great interviewer. You're so fun. And I love your voice. Like as a person being interviewed, it just brings joy to my face, when I do this podcast with you, and you just step right over it. Right. And I go,
Absolutely.
Amber, can you say thank you? Because then I know you received the acknowledgement, right? And you said, what did you say, right?
I said thank you, and that is true. It's one of those things that we do. I mean, it's a part of human nature, and it's something that I personally work on, definitely.
Yeah, it's like it goes back to my book, Raise Your Healthy Deserve Level, the sequel of this one. It's like in life and in practice, you don't get what you uh, deserve, you get what you think you deserve. So one of the ways I work with doctors and treatment coordinators is if they can't receive an acknowledgement, I know they're not going to be able to take money for treatment delivered. Meaning, I create value for you. My form of acknowledgement to you is paying you money. And so, like, I'll see a doctor that has low deserve, or a treatment coordinator that has low deserve, and what happens is they're sitting there going on huge free dentistry. They give dentistry away. Like I can just map this out. It's a pattern. Free dentistry given away, accounts receivable through the roof, low fee schedules, right? And low case acceptance, all connected to this one source point.
Absolutely, the deserve level. Ah, wow. So if you see the exact type of patient you enjoy seeing and do the exact type of dentistry that you want to do.
Yeah. See, ideal patients are created. No patient wakes up and says, man, I really need a full mouth rehab. I really, I can't wait. I hope my dentist has a sleep appliance for me because, I snore, and I really know that dentists are the right person to go to for sleep options. And, I just can't wait, like I just had a heart attack, and, I wish there was a practitioner that, that really understood that inflammation in the mouth affects the inflammation in the body, and can bring me on a path of preventing heart attacks and strokes, because now I understand that the source of the problem for chronic disease is rooted in inflammation. No, it's just not going to happen. So what we do is we create, okay, you tell us the type of dentist that you want to be. Then we turn that in. See, most people think they're selling dentistry. You're not selling dentistry. You're the go-to practice, helping people look good, feel good, be healthier, right? That's what you're really offering people. And then the treatment you do inside that, whether that's implants, ortho, sleep, it's all reverse engineered, and we design the practice reverse engineered from the modalities with which you want to deliver, and then create an entity that can deliver that. And so, and then a patient education system that actually can do that. And then you got your ideal practice with your ideal patients. It's a created thing. It's not something in our lifetime that's going to be defaulted. Now, the generation after this one, they're going to go, oh, this is just how dentistry was always practiced.
They're going to know that. And, and I have to say that reading this book made me closer to an ideal. I'm still not the ideal patient, but I'm closer to an ideal patient than I was before. And as a matter of fact, I coach my own dentist now when she says, let's watch that. And I'm saying, is that the best option? When she's Oh.
Very good. Very
So
good.
see as many or see as few or as many patients as you would like.
Yes, a big misnomer. Dentists go, well, I don't want to be on the drill fill and PPO mill working 7 rooms and having 5 hygienists. You know, some guys or gals like that. So we match the cadence and the speed and what we call is the window of acceptance. So we determine what, you know, some people, like I have a dentist, he's like, I want 5 people. I want to see 8 patients a day, and I want to do higher quality, lower volume, higher price dentistry. Done. I have other dentists that go, I want 5 practices. I put on rollerblades in the morning. I want to work 7 rooms, fill me up. And I just want to put my head down and just be in chair to chair and have my team move around me like an ecosystem. And I go, done. So you get to say how you want to roll each day. And it usually fits the personality of what people can confront in their window of acceptance around, you know, what their life looks like. So there's no one right way to do this.
I love that. I love that this can be, that they can create the life that they're dreaming of, and the one that they think that they deserve. So that's great.
You bet. You bet.
So have little or no accounts receivables. Now that was fascinating to me.
Yeah, because I have people that collect more money than they produce. And then I have other practices that have, you know, I had a gentleman who, when I first worked with him, he had $600,000 in accounts receivable.
Oh, wow.
And I distinguished why. And I went over it briefly just in the last one. It's because you don't think you deserve to get paid. There's shame and guilt underneath it. And, you know, people that say, you know what, I deserve to receive this money. They hire people that have the same belief, and then they get the result. And so, you know, this is really at its core being able to receive an acknowledgement for a value created, and it's an inside job, and then it cascades by who you hire and the systems you put in. And by the way, you know, for those that are fearful of like where you had really loose agreements and then you're putting this in, you do it on a gradient process and you re-educate people, the existing patients, and then the new patients, you just get it, you know, they just have a new standard. They don't know any other way. And most doctors, you know, that are afraid to collect money, they don't have the three ideal steps for how the consumer likes to pay. And we'll get into that in later chapters.
Great. That's great. So delegate all tasks that you dislike and still retain complete control and accuracy in your practice. Woo.
Hello.
Delegate and release control. Oh, but retaining control. But it's like that delegating task always feels like you're losing control, but actually you're still retaining control is what you're saying here.
Well, yeah, because the reason why is they've never experienced having a business model be the control point. You know, it's like you're either Hitler, and you know, and compassion for people that have been through the Holocaust. You're either Hitler trying to be a dictator and a control freak, or what I'm suggesting here is that you can be traffic signals. Traffic signals put control points in and run automatically. And then as long as people follow the rules, the machine works. So that's what I want people to get here, is that you don't have to be a dictator and a control freak. You can still be a control freak, but you don't have to be a dictator. And you also, we decentralize the doctor in the business model. So who's in the center of it is the patient experience. Who delivers that is the team, and a doctor is a member of the team, not the person trying to hold it all together. That's what's going on here.
Okay. That's so right people, right places, doing the right things.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and then having measures and metrics tell you if they're actually doing that right thing, push to you in your smartphone, push like Fitbit. I know how many steps I have each day in real time. each team member is going to know what their measure is and whether they're doing it or not. And then it's up to them to make the changes throughout the day to adjust to get that outcome.
Amazing. I can't wait to get deeper into this, because it's like, I want to unpack this. I'm like, I want to unpack it right now. And I know we're just going over the top 17 here, so or 16.
Slow your roll.
I know. I just want all the knowledge right now.
You're so American of you. We all want a Big Mac in 7 minutes or less. Come on.
Oh, no bread for me. I'm keto, so.
Me too. Hey, managing inflammation, getting to the root cause. We're there.
Absolutely. So work 80% chair side, 10% on managing your business, and 10% on designing your future.
Yes. This is like, if you want to work inside your business, those numbers change as, you go from entrepreneur to CEO. We have dentists who just want to be dentists, and they just, imagine having your team leader be the control point and report to you an hour a week. That's it. 1 hour a week. They have their agenda. They have their measures and metrics. They tell you what's working, what needs improvement, and what they're doing about it. And you go to the golf course or to your kids, and then they go to work. That's the way it should be designed. And it just was never set up that way. And they just don't know. That's not their fault. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. That's a good distribution for a owner operator dentist that wants to work inside the business, be a dentist, and have it all work, and not sit there on nights and weekends trying to figure it out. It's all done for you. This is all done for you stuff. I don't want dentists always came to me, Amber, and they would go, Gary, I know what to do. I don't know how to do it. Can you just give me the how-to, please? Yes, we give you the how-to.
Perfect. So 11 and 12 is have a team that motivates you and have a team that respects you and takes your direction.
Yeah, it's because, again, if you're an acquiescer or an avoider, the cascade default is you have an alpha person. So an alpha, like, hey, if I can't confront, I better hire somebody. That person has control of everything. You lose control. You don't know your numbers. You don't know your money. Like, I can't tell you how often I see like this displacement because they don't have a business model, but they throw a person in there. And this is where embezzlement happens a lot, because, embezzlers, 30% of practices have been embezzled. It's because of this source that I found, which is, head in the sand. Embezzlers go after doctors that have their head in the sand. And, we just pull the head out, and then we put a structure in. And, quite often, the people we see, they either rehabilitate and come on board, and because if they're really healthy and truthful, they go, oh, we can only get so far if it's, one person being in control. And if it's not the dentist, then it's a hired gun to hold it all together. It gets stuck. And then the healthy team members, team leaders, healthy people that have been managing, when they see that there's a better way and they're freed up and they can actually, if their purpose is truly to help the practice grow and help the dentist and help patients get healthy and help the team, they just run with this because they just didn't have direction, and they were just strong, powerful people, more so on the competitive side, where they're, autocratic, clear, they make decisions. They're not sitting there, just on the fence with things. They just do things, and they're in the GSD club, get done.
Right.
They're just in the GSD club, and they just get stuff done. And so that's what happens here. So it's, you can just, know that this shifts everything.
So having a waiting list of professionals demanding to work for you.
This is a big one. Everybody's like, I can't find good people. Or when I find good people, like, it's sort of like my wife, I said, honey, you work so hard. I'm going to get you a maid service. I don't want you to have to clean the house. Then it's going to free you up and do more things that we could do together. And she's like, we hire a maid service. The day before the maid comes in, she's cleaning the house. Dentists think that they have to have the right team to actually change their practice. And it's not true, because you live in the someday, when, maybe never. And the problem is, the reason why they don't attract good team members is because they haven't thought of their practice as a product. and they don't package their practice as an experience. And this is really important with millennials. If you don't have a meaningful point of difference in your practice, they're not going to want to work there. They don't like selling widgets. They like knowing they're impacting people and the world, and they want to make a difference. So it's how you package your practice, and then what are you offering? You need to be competitive against the guy down the street, and your practice needs to be a better work experience, better life experience. I believe, that when, this is why we have the best in the world on our team here, Amber, is because we stand for enhancing the quality of people's lives, starting with our own. So we have programs and protocols that really take care of the team. Like they have to fill out a dream list. Like, yeah, what do you mean you fill out a dream list? Yes, you have to fill out 100 dreams, and then you're going to use the company to help you fulfill on those dreams. I mean, we have people working in Costa Rica, people are working in Australia. Like, for us, we're able to do that kind of stuff because, our work is done, in Zoom and things like that. So, we find out what people want, we help them get it. And as long as they do their job and do it really well and responsibly, they get that kind of freedoms. And, I didn't have that always, but now I know that that's what, millennials want. Now, can we do that in dentistry? No, but there's other things that can be done that you're actually really taking care of people. And then, once they see that you have the best, practice for the internal customer, not just for the patient, the internal customer is the team. There's ways to build a practice that the product for working there is fulfilling, rewarding, personally, professionally, and financially.
Amazing. So then they can have fun and enjoy going to the office daily, which is 14.
Well, yeah. And guess what? What happens is, this is how Ritz-Carlton gets people, in third world countries to follow through on their systems, is what they do is they create the demand, and the people that work there know that they can be replaced in a minute. That's the source of the problem in dentistry today. Most dentists are living in fear and scarcity about recruiting, hiring, and onboarding people. And we take that out. See, when you're not in fear and scarcity, then you're not just throwing a pulse into that position. I like that one. We should call that's a new chapter. Yeah. Throw the pulse in that position. What we're actually doing is we're saying it's a privilege to work here, and here's why. And and we create a wait list for people that, oh man, I really want to work in that practice, but they just don't have a position for me right now. The minute they do, I'm going to jump on it. And then they don't feel entitled, they feel privileged. And then also your onboarding process, you saw the onboarding process here. Right. We make people, you look, if you want to work here, there's a purpose behind our work. You have to read $1 Million Dentistry, you have to do a book report. You have to really understand what we're doing and how we do it. And then you have to take the time and invest on your side to come here. And people really appreciate that. Once they get to the other side, they go, really, I earn the right to be on this team.
Absolutely. And I have been through that process. And I will tell you that to understand my own personal mission inside of a company mission has been empowering in a way that I had no idea that I could work for a company and feel as empowered as I do, because I'd always owned my own business before. And so for me to switch to coming into another business, was this onboarding process made it powerful and empowering. Definitely. Yeah. I can speak to that. So number 15 is be recognized by your colleagues, your team, and your community as a leader in making a difference in people's lives.
Yes. See, once you have all the downsides of dentistry out of the way, you can then become a missionary for what you stand for. Instead of being a dentist with a license that has a handpiece in his or her hand, you are a healthcare hero, a warrior for changing the way people perceive dentistry and healthcare, and have them. You are the hub of your community, because patients come to you twice a year, that the message that you give them of hope and health and wellness, we have dentists who are just like ready to throw up their loops and say, I'm done with all this. And now they're being interviewed on KUSI San Diego for, healthcare as a healthcare, key opinion leader for the community. And, we have people like in San Diego that are on the mission to make San Diego the healthiest city in the world, and, a blue zone city. And, and they run a dental practice, but that's what this doctor is passionate about, so you have the opportunity to really dig in and really become something bigger. And this does so many things. It raises, how you go to work. You'll never drill a tooth again, because yeah, you might do that as an act, but you do it for a bigger purpose and a bigger reason.
Amazing. And to me, it's all about purpose and mission. So I like that idea. And I think when you're speaking to, you said a majority of the dentists are humanist, that's going to resonate with them also.
Yes. And the ones that are not, they're going, oh, I don't really care about that. And that's okay. But then I'm going to translate it into their competitive world called, this is how you get from point A to B faster. And handle all the reoccurring issues that you're dealing with.
Most definitely. So maintain control over your life and practice no matter what breakdowns come your way, which is 16.
Well, hello. This is the one. This is the one I hate the most. My expectation is that everything should be perfect. Success is a straight line from where I'm at right now and to where I want to go, and there's no barrier, circumstances, or people in my way. Well, then if you have that, you're waking up into a world that doesn't exist, and you're going to be disappointed every day. And so, my friend who is a copywriter, here's what he did. He would copyright, and he was really proud of his work for websites. And what happened was, every time somebody would want to change the copy, like they liked some of it, they liked none of it, they liked, and he goes, I'm a copywriter so that people can make changes to my work so that they can have what they want to have. So in the past, he would be angry, and he would actually drink over it. Like at the end of the day, like he would just, every time he presented copy, somebody wanted to change a word and whatever. And he was like, the expectation is you don't change a word, you don't change anything. This is what the best is, and you should just do it. And he was waking up into a world that didn't exist, and therefore he was miserable every day until he shifted. He goes, I write copy so people can make changes so that they can actually have the copy that they desire, and it impacts their business the way they want it to.
Wow.
So the expectation started to shift. And I suggest that for dentists. You are going to wake up into a world, and I personally I really have a hard time with this. I'm one of, all this stuff, by the way, that's being created in this work, I've lived, because, everything that we're doing is solutions that I found for our business, that creates happy people, that implements sustainable results. Like this is one I deal with every day. I deal with it when I woke up this morning. And so it's not an easy task, but what I'm saying is that I've never found a problem, never, in my many years and 6,000 practices, that as long as the doctor's committed, we can help together move through and solve the problem. I've never had a problem, except for, somebody who took his life. Like that I can't change. And that I bring that up because that's a big deal. I've had, more than several doctors, because they're living in the pain of this and the suffering of it, and that's why it's really, the work we're doing here is important. I'm not a brain surgeon or a heart surgeon, but we are talking about people's lives here. And that's why this is an important distinction.
Most definitely. And which brings us to our conclusion, where we're talking about having a secure future, retiring with peace, dignity, and leaving a legacy, because that's what we want for them.
Yeah, amen. But like I said, earlier, 96% of dentists don't end up in this place. And when I saw I'm a numbers guy. So when I see numbers like that, Amber, I'm like, okay, we got to do something about it. So, I want to put as many dentists in the 4 percentile and actually grow that, to bigger than 4, where, most dentists, like, they go through their life, they go to dental school, they have a family, they have things in life, they try not to bump into too many walls, and they try to do well for their families as best they can. And then, they end up at the end of their career trying to sell their asset. And there's a better way to do all of that. And, you can handle debt fast. You can handle, results fast. I mean, it's totally doable. But if you're living in the suffering, you can't see it. And if your expectations are, I'm just going to kind of get through life, through this day, and then at the end of it, hopefully I did good enough, and then hopefully I can sell this thing. And there's better plans, and there's better actions, and there's better outcomes when you really open your eyes that it should not be this way, and you can create whatever you want.
Amazing. Gary, this was a powerful chapter here. I mean, this is true hope, that it can be different than it was for Dr. Larry Laserguy. So I'm really looking forward to our next episode, where we're going to talk about the CPR, cash in your pocket right now. So thank you for being here today and really sharing your wisdom and sharing your heart with us and the hope for a different future.
You bet. I'll leave you with one of my favorite quotes. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens could ever change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has.
Amazing. Thank you, Gary.
You bet.
Thank you for listening to Million Dollar Dentistry with Gary Cady. This podcast is brought to you by Next Level Practice. Next Level Practice is the leader in dental practice management. In fact, they're the best in the world at creating happy teams that implement sustainable results. If you would like a copy of Million Dollar Dentistry, please contact Amber Keithley at Next Level Practice. You may call us at 212-388-1712, extension 119, or go to nextlevelpractice.com/podcast and request a copy in our Ask a Question box. We look forward to brightening your smile.